We will call our meeting to order. We've already done the Pledge of Allegiance, so we will move on to our review and approval of today's agenda.
So moved.
Thank you, Joan. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We have 6 items on our consent item. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move.
I'll second.
A second. Any questions regarding those items? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Issue forum, Joan, start.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so after our meeting 2 weeks ago, we had our rating call in regards to our bonding for the landfill and incinerator. And I had AIS meeting and a lot of discussion of what you know, going forward now with the zebra mussels in Union Lake, what process and procedures we need to look at doing, and how we can hopefully avoid spreading of it into other bodies of water. But it's a uphill battle. I had education and training meeting, just talking, continuing about our programs that we're offering, just kind of what AMC's membership is looking for. And then we had negotiations, and then I also joined the webinar that was put on by the state in regards to cannabis and what that's looking like, going forward, in regards to what type of licensing that they're in this early license application, what they're looking at. And then some discussion in regards to local ordinances, which falls into the planning and zoning, referred to, the state statute that is going to govern anything that deals with cannabis. Still kind of confused on some of those things. Did my monthly radio program. We had our women's monthly cohort meeting. We had a lot of discussion in regards to our state legislators not fully understanding what we do at the county level. Because a couple of women now, they've actually have legislators on their county boards now. And they're finding out when the commissioners are talking about different things that the former legislators are saying, well, I didn't know anything about that. So it's how do we, get them to understand, how county government works versus the state government. I had a DAC meeting. We actually have 8 applications in for new clients, which is, really good to see, which in turn, if they all work for, our program, we're probably going to look at having to hire another worker, which could be a challenge. And I had East Polk Soil and Water meeting. Had a lot of discussion in regards to we're getting a lot of applications for no-till contracts, and just discussion with the soil health and cover crop requirements and stuff. And came up with a policy for that. And then I had the DHS Performance Committee. We kind of looked at where, because we had voted previously to suspend the PIP in certain of the performance programs, and so far it seems like things are going okay, but we're still in the process of moving things into the new department in the DHS. So
What's PIP?
Performance, let's see, how is it?
Performance Improvement Plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's, now they've kind of pushed everything moving into the Children, Youth, and Family Department to October, which initially was supposed to be like in July, but it just keeps pushing back, which then is going to create more of a challenge for the DHS or our local social service departments going forward. And then yesterday I had an education training meeting, and we're looking at providing a training with Mary Rappaport, and she works, it's called Accelerate, and it's kind of, dealing with strategic thinking instead of strategic planning. And so kind of the discussion of those of us on the committee, what issues we're seeing at our local levels, and what we would kind of like to see coming out of that training. So, and the rest of the week I will be at AMC Board of Directors meeting, because we will be having our monthly meeting, and then also our strategic planning for the rest of the week. So still busy.
Sounds like fun.
It is.
Mark?
Just a series of phone calls again on the 220 construction. It appears they're not going to make the August 15th open date. It sounds like I haven't been to the end of 21 or north of there last week or so, but I don't think they've even started much shoulder work at all, which they still got to do signage and so forth and so on. So probably another, who knows, week, 10 days. Detour calls on vehicles going here, there, everywhere, even with the roundabout construction zone, so forth and so on. A lot of frustration out there with drivers. And speeds on 66 are starting to inch up again. I was doing 65 and I got passed by a black Suburban going at least 80. And
Did you get a broken window?
yeah. So
Just asking.
it's with beat traffic and so forth and so on, it's gotten very frustrating out there. Had a phone call from a gentleman on a 911 address on a private driveway. Apparently, he's got concerns, and this long driveway is not, even though it's numbered, it is not part of the township's road, the gas road structure, and he's wanting the township to take it over. Township doesn't want to take it over, and he's got a 911 question, and I don't know. Rich and I spoke a little bit about it, but I don't know where else to go as far as the legalities of the 911 reporting, because it's basically 3/4 mile. yard is 3/4 of a mile off of the main road. And
Why don't you give me the information after the meeting?
Okay.
See what we can do.
and it's basically a 911 kind of question. So
Okay.
So watershed, high water. Most recently we had 3 to 4 inches up in my corridor. The ditch systems up there are overtaxed, and a fair amount of sump pumps or field drainage systems pumping water continually into the ditch system. I mentioned this back in June. Watersheds county have to adopt some type of control measures to get these sump pumps, drain tile turned off until the ditch system can handle. We did find a culvert that had been, Rich is aware of it and working on it, and a culvert that was changed in its dynamics. It was a 36-inch flat bottom culvert, and the watershed installed a 24-inch inside of this, and that water is only up about a third of the way on this 12-inch instead of at the bottom 8 inches across that 36, which basically reduced the flow about 60%, and which has led to a lot of problems in to the east of me with high water, so forth and so on. So again, it's important, and I'll get to the Red Lake watershed to talk about, or all of the watersheds, to talk about some type of mechanism about turning these field drainage pumps off until there's some freeboard in the county ditches or watershed ditches, because it's getting out of hand, and we'll see how that conversation over the winter goes. But that's it for phone calls and issues.
Well, we have long meeting today, 282 pages on our packet. I counted, so a lot of reviews. So I'll try to keep moving here. Last Thursday, we had the canvassing committee with Sam to review the primary election. Not extraordinarily popular in attendance. I think we were around, looks just under 15% turnout on that particular day. 967 people at the polling place, and mail-in ballots around 1,600. But everything seemed to go very smooth.
Right.
And then that late afternoon, I had a meeting down with Laurel, the library, executive committee meeting, and primarily there we're going to begin going into negotiations with union members there. And we reviewed the salary benchmarks comparison with other libraries, and that'll give us some information going into that process. Last Tuesday, Paul and I had Tri-Valley, a lengthy audit review with no findings, and that was good. Obviously, it was coming in a little late, and they've had some staffing problems, and we all deal with that, I guess. And then last Thursday, the 8th, we had, I think, 3 or 4 sessions with Josh, our legal representative, along with some of the unions. And Monday, Warren and I had the corrections meeting, and I'll let him give a little report on that.
Okay, corrections, we had 137 in last Monday. 42 of those were per diems, which is a good idea. July average is 142.8, and year average is, to this point, is 143, so that's pretty dang steady. $130,000 in revenue from the per diems. That is really good. Juvenile Center, well, we had 8 in last week, five on Monday. Of course, none of those were in secure. That section is not open because of staffing issues. There were 65 new cases in probation, 69 closed. That was a wash. And the audit for the second quarter came in with 49% of revenue and 50% of expenses, pretty dang close. That's good again. We had a report that the death review of the suicide that occurred in March 24th. And the Department of Corrections did reviewing and determined that it was natural causes, obviously. And that's about it on the corrections. I have a question for Sam and for Chuck, but a constituent was asking me about the Nature Conservancy, the lands out there in the Mentor country that we took over for a while, and there's some tax payments made on that. We used to have reports or talks, some information on how that was going. Is that still in effect, or are some of those agencies trying to slide out of the deal?
I believe they're still going, but I'd have to look into it.
Okay. It's been quite a while since we had any kind of a report on that.
We used to get U.S. Fish and Wildlife in, I believe. Is that the one you're referring to?
Yeah.
Yeah. No? Different? Okay. What he's talking about.
Okay. All right.
We had met with some past commissioners and they were very concerned about that. They had negotiated that. And wanted to make sure that those payments were still continuing coming in.
Payment in lieu of taxes, Sam
Mm-hmm.
will get on it.
Sounds good.
There's a variety of those agencies.
Okay. Yep. It's enough for me. I had other meetings and such, but nothing of significance. It was.
Just a couple of things. Tri-Valley, one last thing on Tri-Valley, and I see Jason is coming this afternoon to talk about the petition to vacate the right of way. I didn't know much about that. I'm sure we're going to hear about it.
It came up very quickly. We were looking for funding for a bus garage, and that funding came in a little bit sooner than we thought. So that project is proceeding, and so now that makes some changes in the location. So
Yeah, and we'll take care of that
information.
this afternoon. That was the only thing I remembered because he asked us specifically about that. And then the West Central Water District yesterday, Stephen showed up at the city of Beltrami. I wasn't able to attend, but I talked to them before the meeting and after the meeting this morning on my way here, and they were quite interested. There was a lot of information. He filled them plump full of information they weren't fully aware of. They were kind of overwhelmed with all the information, but very pleasantly receptive.
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to get them some more information about grants and stuff that they can apply for. So they were pleased with the information given, but they're just moving ahead, and Stephen's going to help them with that. So I thought that was great. Just again, I field more phone calls than anything. One of the ones was just on County 42. They were doing some crack filling, and this particular constituent said, how come they didn't fill past the white lines on the edges? Why only in the center? So it would be a question I'd have to ask Rich. So I just thought I'd bring it up and I'll talk to Rich. That's all. Oh, I get just meetings next week, and then we have watershed on Monday. That's all.
I'm gonna have to skip out for the noon lunch break. I got a date with a combine. So
What's her name?
New Holland.
Oh yeah.
Depends on how well she's working.
Hope she don't break.
Okay, I believe Brett is on our agenda next.
Right, I'm going to try to get to your items here, and then I'll give you
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Ryan Hughes. Brett was unavailable to attend. He's at Becker County this morning. So
Okay.
I'm going to give an overview of the natural resource block grant. Appreciate staff accommodating short notice of providing a presentation to you. I am a little bit old fashioned. I don't trust IT all the time, so I actually make copies. So if you'd like to hand those around, I never know what I'm going to walk into.
Yeah.
Did everybody get a copy?
Actually,
We
we
just
weren't
got two
short.
here.
We're good to go.
We're good. Okay. Again, Ryan Hughes. I'm out of our Duluth office. I'm the Northern Region Manager. Essentially, I cover everything St. Cloud and north, from North Dakota, Canada to Wisconsin. I have 6 board conservationists like Brett Arney across the Northern region that help me work with the clients that you are. If you go to page 2, the presentation overview is just, I know I have 5 minutes, so I'm going to keep this quick. And I know you have a 280 plus page agenda. So a quick Bowser primer, a little bit about our grant profiles that are included in the Natural Resource Block Grant. Talk a little bit about the specific aspects of the Polk NRBG grant agreement.
Scroll through.
Oh, thank you. Talk a little bit about assignments and delegation of responsibility and working with your partners, and then I'll end it with landowner programs and service options and a success story to share with you. A little primer on Bowser. Bowser is about a 20-member board. It is comprised of individuals that are appointed by the governor. Those individuals are county commissioners, SWCD supervisors, watershed district managers. There's a township representative, municipalities, and then we also have the agency commissioners on our board. As you can tell, there's a couple representatives locally. We have Neil Peterson with Pennington County, a commissioner, he's on our board. And we have Leroy Ossie with the Red Lake Watershed District, that's on our board. So it's good to have some representation locally for you. The Natural Resource Block Grant, it's a composite of grants available to Minnesota counties to implement programs designed to protect and improve water resources. The requirement is to have a locally adopted state-approved plan. So it's a comprehensive watershed management plan if you're working through the watershed partnerships right now. Otherwise, it's a comprehensive local water management plan that's commonly considered the county water plan. So there's many different ways to satisfy that requirement. Certain plans substitute other plans. The comprehensive watershed management plan will substitute the comprehensive local water management plan. On to the next page. This is what is awarded to Polk County. It's approximately $168,113 through various different grants. That's why it's a block grant. It's a composite of many different grants. The different individual grants I will go through individually and give you some background on the why. The local water management grant, that is to help the county do the requirements for Minnesota Statutes 103B. The responsibilities lie in with the county to do that work. It's a voluntary program. It requires counties to use a local task force to develop and implement water plans based on their priorities. And it is the determination that makes you eligible for many funding opportunities through Bowser. It's a result of the Comprehensive Local Water Management Act of 1985. You can ask questions anytime if you have them. The Wetland Conservation Act, many people know about this. This can be controversial depending on the situation, the side you are on the situation. The Wetland Conservation Act funds are used to help local administration of the Wetland Conservation Act. They're formula driven. The requirements in the grant agreement that you have 120 days to transfer funds to SWCD. That was the only requirement for the transfer of funds to SWCD's in this agreement. It was enacted in 1991, and there have been many, many revisions to the Wetland Conservation Act since
I'm
then.
glad you recognize the fact that there's 2 sides to this.
There is.
Thank
you. With all of these grants and all these statutes and all these rules that are put upon the county, I know you're very busy. These are funds to help. assist in administration of those programs. Do they fully fund the administration and work needed for those programs? No. They are funds that are appropriated by the legislature. That is what we get. That is what we pass through. And I'll cut to some later slides on this. The Bowser, we pass through approximately 85% of the appropriations we get from the legislature. So we retain about 15% for administration, overhead, staff, facilities, vehicles, all of those things that it takes to run a business that you're all very well aware of. DNR shoreline grant, it's another grant in there. Grant recipients must have a DNR approved shoreline ordinance to receive the funds. It helps the county implement 103F Minnesota statute, Minnesota Rule 6120. Septic treatment system grants, there again, Minnesota Rules 7082. All counties are required to pass an ordinance regulating SSTS. We get the funds from the MPCA. They get the funds appropriated to them. We have an interagency agreement. We pass out the funds through the NRBG. It's just a more efficient and effective way for the funds to be transferred to the county in a block grant. No local match is required. The grant amount is determined by equal county allocations. Subsurface sewage treatment system upgrade grant. This is actually a very beneficial grant, and congratulations, you received it on a competitive process. These funds are awarded based on issuance of a notice of noncompliance for systems deemed to be imminent threats. These funds are to help those people that sometimes don't have the financial capabilities to address the situations themselves. So this is a very beneficial program. There again, in alignment with Minnesota Rule 7082 to help you administer those programs locally. Some specifics in the grant agreement. Grantee duties, obviously there's a lot of template language in our grant agreements. I wanted to point out the compliance. There again, it references all those Minnesota statutes, rules that are required to be complied by. The county is the delegated authority to ensure compliance with those statutes and rules. The Wetland Conservation Act transfer, it's a required amount, but it can be a greater amount agreed upon by the county and the SWCD. And then time is of the essence. The reason I wanted to point that out is we want to make government function as quickly and efficiently as possible. Many of these funds that are transferred from the county are used to hire staff to help locally implement those programs and those services to the constituents. So in order to ensure that those staff are there to do their work with the constituents, it's important that those funds are transferred efficiently as possible. With Bowser, we try to do it as efficiently as possible after the legislative session ends. If they do end on time, we try to get those funds approved at our July board meeting, which is the beginning of our fiscal year when we receive the funds, and get them out as soon as possible. Assignments. This is where there's probably, and I don't know the details of it, again, I have a large work area, but typically there's service agreements between counties and SWCDs and other entities to help them achieve the obligations they have through the statutes and rules assigned to them. Regardless of those agreements, the statutes are with the county to ensure that they do comply with those statutes and rules. Regardless of whether those agreements and what they say, the county is ultimately responsible with those statutes and rules because that's how those were written. So I wanted to make that clear. The compliance there again just reference those statutes and rules that need to be adhered to. Our soil and water conservation delivery system. At Bowser, our mission is to improve and protect Minnesota's soil and water resources, working in partnerships with the local organizations and private landowners. The ultimate end beneficiary of these funds are private landowners. We work through local governments. We support administratively and financially local decisions to address local soil and water resource issues on privately owned lands. There's approximately 41+ million acres of private lands in Minnesota. That's where we want those funds to go to. We have our statutes that give us the authorities to delegate and distribute those funds. We create as little requirements as possible, but we do have requirements put upon us by the Office of Grants Management, executive orders, Office of Legislative Auditors, similar to counties. And we try to minimize the reporting and the requirements that we put upon individuals that we work with, the local partnerships. I wanted to stress collaboration. Partnerships provide for meaningful success. I was unable to get this to Chuck in time, but I will hand it out here. There's a snapshot we have, and it highlights an almost $9 million project that was done in your area. I can get this to you if you need electronically.
A whole bunch of them.
And it really showcases the work that the county, the watershed districts, the SWCDs, other interested parties collaborating with the state agencies. We can do some really good work working with private landowners on private landowner property. We can make the waters of the state more swimmable, fishable, drinkable. And that's the ultimate goal to achieve through Bowser's mission. And we just really support your work and appreciate the collaboration we have with you. That pretty much concludes my presentation. I don't have anything else to share with you. Again, I'm covering for one of my staff. Brett Arney is your contact. His work area includes Polk as well as surrounding counties. He apologizes for not being here, but we're spread pretty thin, but we do the best we can with what we have. I will entertain any questions, or I will let you move on with your business.
Very good presentation.
Thank
Like
you.
that.
That
Right
was
down to the point.
I like it.
Very good.
It was
Thank
very
you for your
good.
time, and I appreciate all the work that you do.
Mhm.
Thank you very much.
Nicole.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Fine folk. How you doing today?
Good, thank you.
Good. All right. It is that time of year for us to come in and do our budget proposal for 2025 here on behalf of West Polk STBCD. In my cover letter here, I'll just read it here, is as requested, we have submitted our 2025 proposal budget in return on security, or also known as an ROI. We're requesting an allocation increase of $6,880 for a total of $50,000. This allocation will cover the insufficient delegated county programs that we do for the county, which is the Wetland Conservation Act and the Local Water Management Program. 50,000 of that will be towards, 30,000 of that 50,000 will go towards time for those two programs. The remaining 20 will support West Polk SWCD services that have no grant funding, such as the Polk County tax forfeit we work on, the voluntary climatology program we work on for West Polk County, the new West Polk SWCD Minnesota Groundwater Initiative, and then the West Polk SWCD Youth Scholarship Program. Polk County's economy is supported by West Polk SWCD's success in leveraging of federal, state, and local funding for conservation and land water management programs and services, which you'll see in that handout that Ryan handed out about the Sandhill River. And then also Polk County's investment to West Polk SWCD ensures the quality and quantity of the environment, and we continue provisions to Polk County's tax base. So next is our projected or proposed budget. I like to look at this as goals. These are goals we want to reach for 2025. Also, I would like to break this up into two parts. You'll see that we have county and local revenues and then state revenues, followed by local expenses and state expenses. All those items under the state revenues are grants that we receive from the state. The county revenues is the county allocation, the match, our tree program, and then interest and insurance dividends. Overall, 80% of this budget is state funded. This is through state grants. The 20% comes locally. My point in bringing this up is If you did the state revenue against the state expense, there's a positive $45,725 available. We don't keep that. We have to send that back to the state. So any money that we have left over from any of those state revenues goes back. We do not keep it. They're grants. For the county and local part, if you took the actual local revenue, subtract the actual local expenses, we're in a negative $45,945. So you wonder, how do we cover that? What we do with our grants is we use billable rate. Billable rate does overhead for costs. So if I make $30 an hour, billable rate would be 60. We're able to obtain that overhead from these grants to help pay for just district operations, employees' health benefits, expenses like that. So the next page I wanted to show you, and this is also goes to the request of security of investment, or you give us $50,000 for allocation to help support us. What do you get back on that? So through this, you list all the state investments as mentioned. And towards the bottom, when you look at the cost share practices, this is state monies that come in and federal monies that come in for cost share projects for private landowners on the land. This year, we even have federal incentives that are through NRCS that we have available for people to continue their CRP. They'll get an incentive on top of their rental payment. Bottom line is, so if we were to receive $50,000, the county gets $14.29 on every dollar of that $50,000. And total conservation investment that's leveraged is over $700,000. Point being, we bring in a lot of money for the county. Question, I would like to know if there's another investment that the county has that has a return on investment at this amount. I'd be really curious to know that. Polk County should be very appreciative and proud and of the monies that the soil and water districts do bring in, because it's all outsourced funding coming in. Example, projects done. There's a project on the sandhill, like the handout that was given. Those means those contractors buy gas here, they stay here, they buy food here, they buy material here, and all that is taxed. So West Polk's requesting an increase of $6,880 to have 50. Realistically, to be honest with you, we could use $100,000. But as long as I've been here and as many times that I've asked for increases, be it 10,000, 50,000, we fail to receive such. So I'll just continue to ask. Next time, though, if we do ask for an increase and we don't receive an increase in allocation, I would request a reason why that is. I would like to know why. So if that will help me for the next year to look at a different way to request or other avenues to look at. So that's it for budget requests. Any questions? No?
Do you want to go into the reason for the $6,880 increase?
Yes, to make it $50,000. So we can use $30,000 on the NRBG monies and then the $20,000 on those programs that we listed. I'm making it even. 50 grand, because I've asked for that amount several times before. It is very hard to get an allocation increase for whatever reason. To me, I still question why, especially with the amount of money that we bring into Polk County, and we're supporting the tax base in Polk County, and we're bringing business to Polk County. I don't understand why it is such a struggle to ask for an allocation increase. So that's why, if we do not receive an allocation request or increase for 2025, I'm asking for an explanation as to why.
Nicole, back to your comments, and maybe I lost something. and it was, I think, up on the previous
The
screen.
budget.
The budget on, you went from a 45,000
43,120.
positive to a 45 negative,
Yeah.
which is a $90,000 swing. Explain how that works in that $90,000 swing.
The $45,000 of that $90,000, we have to return back to the state. So if we get a grant and we don't utilize the entire $100,000 on that grant, that gets back. That goes back.
And the grant dollars are on a billable.
We do billable rates on our grant dollars.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And they typically are 2 to 3 years in length. Some are annual. But yes, all that state revenue, everything, we don't get to pocket any of that. It goes right back.
So back to the projects. Sounds like to me on the projects, if you would, if you come in under budget, you're almost being penalized for them, correct?
Yeah, because that money will go back.
Because the money's got to go back.
You bet. Yep.
Is there not, maybe a question for Bowser, is there not a 10% or some calculation of a holdback or contingency?
There is, and that typically goes to the project or engineering costs. It doesn't go towards the project development. It doesn't go towards administration or coordination or the cost share portion. So, I do have one more thing. I want to clarify. I have a handout here. It's thick, but they're all stapled together. I have for the FIU and then Sam and Chuck. So.
Your copy, though.
Oh, thank you. It has my name on it. Thank you.
Can I have one?
One more back.
Got it.
So I listened to the recorded July 23rd Polk County Board meeting, and there were statements made that need to be rectified from that recording. These statements were of the invoices that had not been received from West Polk STBCD for the MOU match, and indication that West Polk STBCD was not processing the request correctly. In the handout I'm giving you, you'll see the email correspondence between Chuck, myself, and Sam. The first email, dated March 4th, was regarding the request made at the February 2nd County Board meeting to submit the invoice for the match at the end of each year instead of monthly. This email was followed by a phone conversation between Chuck and myself agreeing to that statement, and West Polk STBCD was directed to submit the invoice and NRBG disbursement log to Sam. The second email, April 1st, included the match invoice, program logs, the billing rate calculations, as requested, was sent to Sam, received by Sam, and statement by Sam to process the payment. The third email, dated July 2nd, included the same request, requested attachments, NRBG reimbursement log, and the Bowser grant agreement for the NRBG highlighting section 2.4. I am requesting a retraction of comments made at the recorded July 23rd Polk County Board meeting indicating invoices had not been received and West Polk SWCD, myself, of quote unquote not doing it right. As demonstrated, West Polk SWCD did submit the invoice, requested attachments, and NRBG disbursement log as directed by the Polk County Administrator. I, Nicole Byrne, request a public apology of these false accusations. I performed the requested actions to process payment for the match and disbursement of the NRBG grants as directed by the Polk County Administrator.
Any questions of Nicole regarding the information provided?
Is your request in here?
No, I just verbally put my request in,
Okay.
and it is recorded, so.
Okay, good.
Nicole, we'll look at it, look into it and get it straightened out. Not sure exactly what has happened, but it's internal over here. I'm not quite sure. I'll go back and look at the July 23rd meeting too and the statements, but I'll apologize on behalf of staff for the offense.
If there are no more questions, you can contact me at any point in time on the information that was just submitted and also the budget information as well.
And we have your number.
Yes, in my email signature. You'll see my number there.
The 6070.
Yep. But
Okay.
I'm also going to give you my cell phone number as well because that's also my work number. That's 218-280-8989.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next. Yeah.
Just say something quick. Good morning. I'm John Sorensen. I'm one of the supervisors for West Polk. Just wanted to. We're digging beach right now, so I took time off to come here. And just thank you guys for taking our calls recently from all the supervisors about our concerns. We hope, as supervisors, there will be no more concerns, but if there are, we will continue to contact you. Thank you very much.
John.
Thank you. What was your name, sir?
John Sorensen.
Rachel.
Is the budget up on there?
Yeah,
Oh, maybe can I have the?
sure.
I'll
Just
start
keep the
there.
mouses outside.
Okay, so I'm here for our budget request as well. Kind of go backwards here, but so this is our budget. It's pretty similar to Nicole's, right? We're requesting the same allocation as as previous year, so the 43,120. So this is all the county revenue up here. Our district tree program does really well. It's a self-sufficient program, so what comes in goes out. Some years you might lose a little bit, the next years we make it. So overall is a wash, which is what we strive for. Here's what we get for our state grants. I'm missing our soil health grants in there because that's new. And when I did this budget, it was still up in the air. So otherwise, our expenses, we aim to spend the money that we get every year because like Nicole said, with the grants, they go back if you don't spend them. So work hard at managing our time and making sure that everything is getting done that is expected of us in those grants. Okay, so now we'll go back up. So do you guys want, I have handouts of these if you want. Or is the screen okay?
I'll take one.
Let me keep a copy. So this is the one of them. They kind of go hand in hand, so it might be easier to be able to see it. Okay, so I kind of did our project update just kind of based on like what we spend our county allocation on. In the request from Chuck, it kind of seemed like you maybe wanted some more information on that. So WACA obviously is funded by the NRBG grants and the county allocation. With the local water management, so we're pretty different from other SWCDs in the fact that we do a lot of water monitoring. Is there enough? Okay.
I think so.
We're just fighting as usual.
So, like I was saying, so what kind of sets us apart from other SWCDs in the area is this water monitoring. So a lot of our local water management goes to water monitoring. So we do lake elevations weekly. Pretty much DNR dictates when we do that, but it's springtime when the lake's open to when they freeze. Stream monitoring is done May through October. That is weekly. So we have clarity, temperature, pH, dissolved oxygen, appearance, recreational suitability, any recent precipitation, and then stream stage. And these are the locations. Rainfall, a lot of office.
These are your lakes that you monitor?
Yes. Yep. And then, so yeah, let's These are all the lakes that we do the elevations on.
Okay, thanks.
And then rainfall, everyone kind of does. If you know anyone that wants in East Polk to rainfall monitor, we don't have any anymore because people keep quitting. Mark does a great job. He's fantastic. But in other areas we are missing. But that gets reported to the state climatology office. And so if you guys ever go look at historical rainfall or whatever, that data is coming directly from your SWCD offices. And they're volunteers. We process it and send it in for the volunteers who take it. So another water monitoring that we do is actually lake monitoring. So we do 13 lakes, 4 in the Sandhill and 9 in the Red Lake watershed. This has been kind of cool this year because with the One Watershed, One Plans, MPCA does a TMDL and RAPS process to where they list the waters that are impaired, severely impaired, or not impaired. And there have actually been a couple of lakes from our monitoring that have been delisted. Kittleson was one of them, and I should have written it down, but there was one other one too. But then we've also the watersheds pay for the lakes program for the lab. The lab fees are like $65 a lake per month. So the watershed districts reimburse us for that, but then we donate our time, the equipment, our vehicles, stuff
So
like that.
tell me that again. Kittleson was removed. Why?
Kittleson was delisted because the water quality was better than it was back in 2012 when it was last monitored. So a lot of lakes were only monitored back in like 2012 for a year or two. And we do for them in 3-year cycles, and then based on inputs from MPCA, we'll either keep monitoring, or if it's good again, we stop and we'll switch out another lake. Red Lake Watershed kind of helps pick what lakes they want in their area, and then in the Sandhill, I do that for them.
Do you ever go back to those lakes that are delisted?
So we just started this program in, I think it was 2018. So I would anticipate in like probably maybe 10 years we would go check on them again.
Okay.
But it was really neat we do a ton of monitoring, right? And we've never really seen that data. I mean, we know it's used on the back end, but it was unique to see that MPCA was contacting us and they're like, we can delist this because of your work.
Mm-hmm. Well, because the only reason I asked that is because Kittleson feeds a whole lot of stuff from there to the Sandhill.
Yep.
With all the back channels and everything, all the way to the Sandhill.
Yep. So it was delisted.
If we're talking about the same Kittleson.
Yeah, it's like the end of Maple Lake. It's like straight.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Just wondering.
So yeah, we do a lot of that. So our county allocation helps fund all of that with the local water management. We do a lot of outreach, Envirothon Water Festival. We help with the Pennington Education Days, which is for area 6th graders. And then I do Arbor Day with the kindergartners, and I go to some of the daycares in the area if they request it. And then we have our feedlot, which is an MPCA grant. So there's 47. I'm the county feedlot officer for all of Polk County. They used to be splits, but West Polk doesn't have a whole lot, so it's just easier to do as one. And then our buffers, we only have 2 that are in non-compliant status right now. And they're working on it. They're just dragging their feet. And then otherwise, yeah, we do a lot of cost sharing on well sealings, projects. And then with the One Watershed, One Plan money, we have Clearwater and Sandhill and East Polk. And so we're gearing up for more projects with that. I have a staff she has job approval authority, which we don't want to get into the weeds on that, but essentially she can design some projects and help our area engineers. So she does a lot of that, so we will be seeing a lot more projects. So if we go back up to this sheet, so this is the last 3 years from our WACA money, so our Wetland Conservation Act money, the local water management. So I have it broken down into the base funds, which are passed through by you guys. And then the second column there is what we actually spend per program. So we're short money every year. 2024, we've kind of changed how we had less staff in 22. And then 23, a lot of that goes to intern. They do a lot of our monitoring. So 24 this is till the end of July I did. So That's essentially what we're putting in, so you can minus your county allocation off of that, so the 43,000, but then the SWC is technically still putting in money above and beyond what you guys provide for those programs.
You mentioned something about capping wells.
Yes, we do well ceilings.
Okay, so they call your office? It's something you added that, because I had 2 people just ask me about that.
Yep, so that's our office. We offer 50% cost share. Just with cost share, though, they have to come in with an estimate first, and the board has to approve it before the work can be done.
Thank you. Cool.
So that's pretty standard for all cost share. You have to get it approved first. So
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. I thought the table was nice. I'd never broken that out before, but hope it's helpful for you guys. Questions, comments? Thanks.
Thank you.
Multi-county. Well,
You can have a fancy chair if you want. Good morning.
Hi.
morning.
Thank you. Yep. I'm doing it for me or something. Perfect. Oh, good morning.
Morning.
And so we're here again. We come every year to give an annual update of our housing programs and community development, what's going on in our levy. So first and foremost, thank you for letting us be here today. I'm Charity Brault. I'm Executive Director. Along with me today, we have is Mark Finstead. He is our chair on our board, HRA board, and has been since 2010, has been on our board. Also Heather Harbit. She has been our finance manager for over 15 years. So we're happy to be here and give you an update. So, of course, as we appreciate the levy, I mean, it definitely benefits businesses, cities, counties, individuals, homeowners. We have multiple programs that it affects for us, what we do at the HRA. So, and again, for over 50 years, we had our 50th a couple years ago, so it's been pretty awesome. We just heard that it's been 50 years since housing choice vouchers became, so 1974. It's been 50 years since that program started, so helping a lot of families and people in need. So, but I'm going to go through the packet quickly again. So first is a letter to Commissioner Wilhite, just saying we're going to be here today. And then the second is letter to County Administrator Chuck Whiting, just saying that every year in May we go through and our board addresses each county individually, 6 counties that we do levy, and we pass a resolution to be able to collect that levy for the next year. So we do that typically in May, but of course our board goes through all of our levy activities every other month that we meet. We meet 6 times a year. So next is our taxable market value. So every spring or early in April, we ask each of the counties that we levy, what is the taxable market value? And we get that number, and that is a percentage that is 0.000185%, and then we do 25% of that. So for Polk County, our 25% max is $348,148 for the year payable in 24. So, and again, that supports community development and affordable housing in Northwest Minnesota, and yours specifically to Polk County goes to Polk County. It doesn't go to any other county. It stays within the county.
Good
Yeah,
question on that
sure.
assessment, is that statutorily
Yes.
limited?
Yes, we could do 100%, but we do only 25% because we don't need to have a war chest of money. That's enough money for us to be able to do what we do. So we could go up to 100%, but we do not. But it is, yes.
Thank you.
And then, so again, that was up again, as we know, market values have went up. So that's been up since last year, actually almost $100,000. So, so that again, as you can see, we have 348,148, and then we're going to get onto that one. So the next spreadsheet, I'm going to have Heather go through that, and she'll go and talk about.
Just looking at the middle section, which is the current cycle for the levy, of the 1,143,000 that's come in, the balance that is available and that's uncommitted is $363,758 for Polk County. So for Polk, the current commitments are for the small cities rehab programs that are going on right now. So there's 50,000 committed for this Erskine small cities one, and that one's rental, commercial, and owner occupied. And then 25,000 for the city of Boston, and that's owner occupied. And then so the levy commitment, so with that rehab, it's committed. So if there's extra that is needed to bring these units up to standard, then they have this available as a loan that they can use. It's a 0% payable over 10 years. We've also used it for down payment assistance, which is low in funds right now, so that's been keeping that going. And they could also use it for other programs as match, like USDA or MHFA. So yeah, it's good match money for them if they don't have the funds.
And then I just always do like a year in review, what has been going on with us for the last year. We had actually last Friday we had our 7th retirement since I've been there in 6 years. So we wish them well, but we've had a lot of people leaving us due to retirement, which is wonderful for them, but not so much for us. But we did hire 3 new people within the last month, and they've been great hires. And we now have a housing inspector instead of our housing specialist going out and doing everything start to finish. We have somebody going out and just doing inspections. So that's been very helpful within the last month. So we're very happy about that. And it's kind of alleviated. There's a lot of things that we have to do to income qualified, a lot of paperwork, all of that. But we want to make sure that those inspections are getting done timely and that we have somebody there and addressing the issues or non-issues that we have. So been very fortunate, but a lot of turnover with retirements, but and so if you look at the info sheet, I'm just going to go, and that's something you can look at on your own, but I'm going to go on to the next one, which is Polk County, small cities and levies. So this colorful sheet here describes what we've had going on in our community development. And Christy Thorfinson has been heading our community development team, and actually we just hired a community development specialist because we've had so much activity and people wanting to do so. Right now we have 5 active grants that we're working for small cities. And in Polk County, we have, of course, City of Foston, which Heather talked about. We awarded 21 homes, and 17 of those 21 are underway right now. And that program will go until September of 2026. So we have until then to finish those projects in Foston. As Heather said, we committed 25,000 to levy. So meaning that if anyone needs extra work done, they get per home around $25,000. If they need a little more money, they have that levy to go on for a loan payable in 10 years, 0% interest. So they can finish their complete project. Also is the city of Erskine awarded, and that also is a comprehensive, so that's homeowner, rental and commercial. And so again, we wrote for more and we were awarded, we went from 15 homes down to, or I'm sorry, 5 commercial, we got 5 commercial, 4 duplexes and 25 multifamily rentals. So they kind of cut us. I guess they awarded everybody for last year and they wanted to get everybody fair funding. So they cut us, but we are actively doing that. And so right now, all of those projects, 12 of the 25 are actively currently going underway right now. So again, that one's also needs to be done by 2026 of September. So and then we closed out McIntosh. We got awarded for rehab, and that was closed out last September. So very good. Also for our levy, we do loan it out to rental landlords if they need projects done, commercial. Right now I'm meeting with somebody in Foston, a business owner that has 1980s HVAC units, or not HVAC, I'm sorry, but old boiler and AC units, and they're like, I think we're finally at our last step. We need to do something. So they're looking at matching funds for that, and we're gonna maybe hopefully inspect that in the next week.
So Erskine has 2 years to finish up, huh?
They have 2 more years. Yep. So they're awarded. Yep. They're awarded and they're done in September of 26. And if we don't finish, we can always ask for an extension. But again, extension means there's a little more time what's going on. If people, when we apply for these, we ask for intent letters. We want to make sure people, they say they want to participate, but sometimes they end up not. So that's why too, we want to spend all the money. We don't want to give the money back. We want to,
Right.
make sure that we do. So we have that time, and the state has been really good to work with us in order to get that done. And our board too has been very like, let's get this done. Let's make sure we spend all this money. So we ask for a few months, 6 months, a year. They're usually pretty good about extending it for us. So yeah, so that's been that. And then if you go on to the next page, Heather talked about down payment assistance, how the levy is in Polk County. Again, Polk County, when it originated with down payment assistance around 2008, 2006, 2008, investors invested money into it, and then it's a revolving program. It keeps on paying back, and then we loan out to more people for down payment assistance on their homes. So actually this morning I blanketed Crookston, and we market to all the realtors and the lenders in all of our counties. We do this in 8 counties in Northwest Minnesota, and Polk is one of our busier counties. As you see, number of loans we had were 8. In 2023, we had 15. So you can tell the interest rate affected a lot of things. We saw a little fall, but again, I can say probably within the last 2 weeks, we've had 2 or 3 more. So this hasn't been updated since last week. So we've already had like, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 pass through my desk in the last few days. So it's been good. And so again, our investors, until it revolves back, we cannot loan out any more money unless we have the levy to support it. And so that's what has been basically supporting for Polk County. So as you see, 6 counties represented, and you can see here Angus, Crookston, East Grand, Erskine, Foston, and Warren. And why we have Warren on there is because it's a rural country address. It considers it's still into Polk, so considered as Polk. So and also total borrowed out for down payments is 60,000. Last year we did 105,127. So it was a little bit of a decrease from last year, but that's considering the interest rates. And right now, we do 115% of state median income. So currently, it just went up $100. So it was 128.5 last year to income qualify for this program. It's 128.6. So yeah, and then we meet every fall. I'm actually going to be reaching out in the next probably 2 weeks, and we'll set that up. We do a Zoom meeting annually with this committee, which each of these counties, and we determine the parameters for the next year if we want to make changes to the interest rate, to the amount loaned out, or anything that we want to do. So we do that typically in October. And then lastly, we have our Section 8 program, Housing Choice Voucher Program. And then I just included income limits at the very end. That's just for your information of all the 8 counties that we serve. But Heather, I'm going to let you go ahead and do the.
This is just for Polk County, the last year, sort of how many vouchers that have been used within the county. So an average over the year, it was about 530 families per month that we helped. And of that, it was about $489 per family that was help paying this. So this is the rent assistance. It goes directly to the landlords. They pay or the family pays 30 to 40% of their income towards rent, and then we help with the rest. Overall, if you look at throughout our whole service area, that's just sort of all of them broke out. We help about 830 families a month with an average of 513 a voucher. They can move with this rent assistance. They can move anywhere within the United States. So once they start in our area and they move out, we continue to have to pay for them when they go outside of our service area, unless the other housing authority can absorb them into their number. So right now we're helping about 46 families outside of the service area.
That's a federal law?
Yes, and they have to live in our service area per our policy for 1 year. They can't just come in and say, oh, I want to take that voucher and move it. They have to live in our service area for 1 year. But that's something that we require
You
in our
should
policy.
rename that from Section 8. You know what a Section 8 is in the military?
Well, and that's what everybody knows it as, and that's why we say housing choice voucher, but people are like, what is that? So that's why we kind of refer it still to, no.
Throwing that out there.
Okay. Yeah.
Another program that we have underneath the Section 8 program is the self-sufficiency. It's the FSS program. And so if a person is on Section 8, they can apply for this program, and they work with 2 of our employees that help them become self-sufficient. So in the past year, we've had 4 that have graduated the program. So once they start earning income, the difference that we used to pay compared to what we pay as they're earning more income goes into an escrow pot for them. And then at the end, when they successfully complete, they get that money. So of those 4 people, 16,782 was they got in their own pocket. They could buy a house, whatever they want, or a new car.
Vehicle or tuition for college or
Okay.
whatever. So it's good incentive to get off of the program and get self-sufficient. So
It's one of the best programs. When I first started this, I said, remember, I said I want more programs like this one.
yeah, it's been a good
Yeah.
program for us.
Good incentive.
We try.
Awesome.
One other thing we should bring up is there's a new program with the state. They're gonna start their own Section 8 program or voucher program. So right now we have estimated about 40 to 50 vouchers within our service area that they'll be funding. So it's not active and going yet, but they're coming up with rules and regulations. So.
Yeah, it's called the Bring It Home. If you've heard it in the headlines at all, Bring It Home. Anyway, it's a lot of states have that, their own state voucher program, and we're all fine with it, but it's going to compete with our federal voucher program because we want to make sure that we're utilizing both. But they don't have a manual out, they don't have an RFP out yet. It's been like for a year that they've been talking about, so the time is ticking that we have 2 years of funding. That's all. We don't know when this is gonna for sure come out, but we're open to learn and do what we can for it. We just want to kind of get it going. We're learning about it, but we have nothing yet to learn about. So it'll be interesting when it comes.
So they're only eligible for either the federal or the state? I mean, you can't do both, right?
No, we can't do both. And with the state, you can't port it all. That has to stay within the state of Minnesota.
Sure.
Yep. So that's one other difference, but it's pretty much, it's going to, hopefully they say we can follow our same policy. We don't know in the paperwork the same, but I'm kind of thinking there's going to be more to it, and we'll have to have a whole new program and another person hired and all of that, because it's going to be a whole nother thing. So.
Bureaucratic setup.
They say it'll be easier. So.
They said it'll be easier. They keep on saying, I always say that. So.
I've heard that before.
Question on the Section 8 vouchers. You had said that if they move out of state, you're still responsible for how long?
Until they absorb it, that housing authority. So like, for instance, if they go to Chicago, we have some right now, I believe, in Chicago, and their rent is a lot more than our $453 that our vouchers are worth. We pay until they're open. They open their waiting list. They have a waiting list until they open it, and then they'll maybe absorb. So and they did, in times they give us extra money for those ports, and then sometimes they don't. And it's been 1 year this and not. So we're holding that money. Yeah.
And if a state doesn't want to take them,
we continue to pay until they absorb them. And that's what
ridiculous.
The law is. Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
And when I first started about 6 years ago, we were quite a bit, and then a lot absorbed because it's easier for them too. Like in the cities, Minneapolis, of course, people living down there were paying as well, but they absorbed a lot of those vouchers. And
if we go into shortfall, then we can show that we won't have enough to continue to keep paying. So then we can't let them afford it that way. But you have to be in shortfall to stop that.
Right.
And you said how many are currently
46. Yeah, we have 46 that we're paying out.
Wow.
Yeah, when there's shortages in big cities, they'll work their way out where there's not shortages.
That's what they're doing.
And then go back again. So
but we'll be probably, again, we could go into shortfall because we don't want to jeopardize ours, but if we go into shortfall, then we can't pay them. So, but we have to be utilized and right. So.
I don't mind the interstate stuff, but going out of state, that just rubs me the wrong way.
And the majority of them are like within the cities, like St. Cloud cities area.
Yep.
It's just those ones that go to California, Chicago, a little bit of it hurts a little.
So. Yeah. My son is in Chicago, so I know their rents.
So So yeah, okay.
Just a couple comments as your representative on the board. You probably can see that we have stable, strong leadership, and even though we've had some turnover of staff due to retirements, uh, Heather and Charity do a great job and have been providing a stable, strong leadership. We've had good audits. The money is well cared for and looked after and not wasted. I also would like to point out is we serve a large area, which Charity described, but this is an economic engine for our economy in Polk County because we're serving these other counties and the employees are here, they're living here, they're working here. So it's a nice little economic engine for Polk County. And then I would just like to add on to what Charity said, the levy is very valuable for us for a resource to, I mean, we don't know what future state and federal funding, they've been good lately, but you know, there'll probably be times in the future when they're not, and it's nice to have the local funding to make sure we keep stable and healthy here. So, thank you for your support.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. And I'll leave some business cards and some other down payment assistance information again, and please reach out if you have any questions or anything. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Just like my wife.
Thank you.
Lippy.
Good work.
Okay, I have to go find a kettle prod.
No, I'm probably pretty full. Oh, I get all of this stuff.
Yes, you do.
Morning.
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 Again.
Again. Okay, here for Polk County Social Services, we have 6 items for requesting for board approval. First item is the letter of support for Aluma to provide outpatient substance use disorder. Polk County Social Services is supporting Aluma to provide non-residential substance use disorder treatment in Boston. An expansion of outpatient substance use disorder services to Boston will enhance treatment of care for individuals. This location will help consumers access services and reduce transportation barriers to driving distances to get services. Board approval, the action requested is board approval to support Aluma to provide outpatient substance use disorder treatment in Boston, Minnesota.
How many employees are they going to have over there? Is it going to be every day or not? Do you know?
You know, I don't know the number of employees. I understand they have 2 office spaces in that location, but I don't know how many will be stationed there.
Okay, yeah, because I was out of town when they had their open house, so.
That's a good question. I can find out for you.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
All right.
Opposed, motion carries. Number 2.
Okay, number 2, we're requesting Tri-Valley Opportunity Council Housing Services Contract Amendment. Contract to provide housing services and housing stabilization services to Polk County residents. The original contract included housing assistance outreach services in the amount of $83,000 and a purchase of services in the amount of $40,000, not to exceed $123,000. The contract amendment is not to exceed an additional purchase of services amount of $50,000 from August 2024 through December 31st, 2024. The total contract amount for 2024 will not exceed $173,000. Our action requested is for board approval of the contract amendment with Tri-Valley Opportunity Council to provide housing services and housing stabilization services from April 16th, 2024 to December 31st, 2024, not to exceed the amount of $173,000.
Is there a motion to proceed?
So moved.
Looking for a second.
Second.
Warren. Any additional questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
Okay, our third item is the replacement of a social service board layperson. According to Minnesota statute 393.01, the county should have a social service agency board. Board member Kathy Gutterud term expired due to resignation on June 18th, 2024. Social Services is recommending Ronnie Bachararia as her successor. The request is for board approval of the appointment of Ronnie Bachararia to the Social Service Agency Board.
So moved.
And I will second that. Any other questions, concerns?
We'll call her Ronnie.
Bhattacharya.
And she was here, obviously here earlier for those who maybe
Vast experience.
very, very extensive resume. Any other questions, concerns? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
Our next items are our request for Family Resource Center Facility User Agreement. This agreement is to utilize the City of Fertile Knutson Community Center for Family Resource Center operations to Polk County residents in the Fertile area. Polk County Family Resource Centers provide education resources and support to promote positive outcomes and strengthen children, families, and communities. Action requested is board approval of the agreement with the City of Fertile to provide in-kind facility space from August 1st, 2024 to August 1st, 2025.
Are the terms and conditions the same of all three of them? Just
Yes, they are.
I so move.
There a second?
second. I was gonna see if we could do all three in one move, but that's fine.
And obviously, Mr. Whitseth has reviewed these.
Yes, he has.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Sorry.
The next item is another Family Resource Center facility user agreement. This is for the East Grand Forks School District facility, being used as in-kind space for Polk County Family Resource Center operations to the residents of the East Grand Forks area. Our action requested is for board approval of the agreement from August 1st, 2024 to August 1st, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Any further questions, concerns? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
Okay, our last item is another Family Resource Center facility user agreement, and this one is with the Aurora Center for the Arts facility to be used as the Family Resource Center. And we're requesting board approval for the agreement with the Aurora Center for Arts from August 1st, 2024 to August 1st, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any questions, concerns?
I just, I hope like with the FOSTA one now that we try and pull in inter-county, because I mean, they're providing services for, clients in that part of the county anyway, and instead of having to, refer that, they would just be there to provide.
Yes,
So-
exactly. Yep, we'll pull them in and
Mhm.
see how we can collaborate.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that motion carries also. That's
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a break scheduled, but we're going to come back and have our attorney on hand regarding some litigation. We'll call her up on the screen and then we'll go into a closed session or have you close
At
the
that
session
time.
At that time.
Okay. Short break.
Hello, I sure can. Very good. All right, I'm going to hit mute. I'll just sort of wait for a little bit. Okay.
Hear us.
Yeah, I can hear you. I'll know what's going on. Thanks.
Motion to close at 11:02.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those
All right, and just to confirm, we've stopped recording. Okay, very good. Well, are we ready to go ahead? Is everybody back in the room? Very good. All right. Well, thanks everyone for getting me on your agenda today. Glad to be here, and I hope that you all had an opportunity to review a letter that I sent out, I guess coming up on 3 weeks ago now. It's been a while, but I'm here to talk to you about an update on the Juvenile Detention Center litigation. Discovery is concluded, meaning the period of time where we exchange information. We've we took some depositions. We got 2 experts for the file. One of them who is an expert appraiser, whose job was to provide a valuation of the property immediately before and after the water intrusion event. And then a second expert who is we call him a standard of care expert, but basically his job is to explain